Greetings all, this is Justin from the Hairy Nick, and with me is the actual Hairy Nick.
'Tis I, the hairiest of Nicks. How are you, Justin?
I'm doing well.
Excellent.
Today we are here to talk about Lando's Millennium Falcon.
Yep, got the full spoiler article now. I'm pretty sure this is everything we get in the pack.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. It just feels like yesterday we got the original reveal for this. We're getting these pretty frequently now. Unfortunately, we didn't get anything last Friday for you Americans or Saturday morning for us Australians. We pretty much were getting a habit of like the 2 a week thing, but it's just one over the past week, so I don't know, whatever happens. I mean, we're going to get everything for Wave 1 spoiled well in advance of the release anyway, and that's all that really matters. And yes, now today's scum are getting some love with Lando's Falcon. Got it where it counts, and it sure does, Justin.
Yeah.
It sure does.
It looks so nice.
It does look so nice. In fact, before anything else, yeah, here's the model. It does deattach from the escape craft. Fingers crossed there is hope for the Ghost yet. Maybe the new Ghost will get a resculpt. A lot of people are saying, Nick, I don't think that's going to happen because it has the two different Phantoms and that's going to be too crazy to do. Maybe, I understand. I can understand like it might mess with the little Phantom miniatures too much. But maybe they'll just be like little miniatures that represent the docked version and a miniature for the other thing on the base. That might be way too expensive and maybe they won't do that.
I don't know.
But I think there's hope for that yet.
I think they can do it.
Yeah, I think they can. I believe in UFFG. Anyway, we got pretty much every pilot card and crew card available in the pack right off the bat here. If we just take a quick look at the quick build card, yes, we do have Ridge Cargo Chute, Tactical Scrambler, and Lando's Millennium Falcon. The Cargo Chute and the Scrambler are not shown in this article, but we've seen those elsewhere. I'll pop them up on the screen for you guys to see. Alright, before we talk about anything else, let's talk about the title card that's been revealed this time, which pretty much informs what all the pilots want to be doing. I think this actually works pretty well on every pilot we've seen. One escape craft may dock with you. While you have an escape craft docked, you may spend its shields as if they were on your own ship, which is very, very significant. While you perform a primary attack against a stress ship, roll 1 additional attack die, which is really good. It's really good. It's not quite punishing 1 levels of increase your primary weapon value by 1. It's going to be cheaper because of that.
Yeah, but not by much, I don't think.
Not by a whole heap. There's a lot of incidental stress in the game. I will say, I feel like looking at this, your opponent's going to look at your build and go, oh, you've got Lando's Millennium Falcon. I think it's going to make your opponent avoid stressing themselves out in some situations. I don't think them taking a focus token over you rolling extra red dice is a good trade for them, for example.
No, but I think every so often they're going to either forget or they're going to be like, at this stage, I need that additional...
Yeah, you can punish your opponent for having few options. Yeah, it's very scummy. I like the design of this a lot. And it really goes to show that, look, it's not dead in the water. A lot of people, when the original article came out on my video, commented, oh, this has only got 2 primary, this is dead in the water. Look, first of all, we don't know the costings. It could be so cheap that it doesn't matter, particularly with Lando Calrissian that cares about the amount of dice he's rolling. We talked about him in the first video, but I will quickly bring him up now. The fact that there's a way to consistently get another dice makes his ability way better in my eyes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like we were discussing this before we recorded this, I'm thinking about like comboing Lando with a Sarge Ventress to try and guarantee that stress.
Yeah.
And I think overall Lando's Falcon as Sarge is going to be useful. But as you were saying, the fact that stress is so incidental in the game means that you may not have to try and control it.
Yeah. I don't think you'll be working as hard to stress ships as much as you were.
No, and we don't like have Tactician or anything like that. I mean, Tactician might get reprinted on another card somewhere, but I doubt that very much because Tactician is just free stress. Asarge is free stress as well, but you've got to spend Force tokens and your opponent can spend green tokens to get around it. So it's not the be-all and end-all stress control that these things used to be. And yeah, I like the design of this title a lot.
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense with the ship. I think it's playing around with the similar space that the Punishing one did in first edition, but it's a bit more scummy.
It's doing it in a safer way.
And it's the faction identity's there.
Yeah.
The faction identity is what this is all about. And it's a big part of the design of second edition and makes me very happy. Now let's go through these pilots.
So, L3, it has the calculate ability instead of focus. If you are not shielded, decrease the difficulty of your bank, left and right maneuvers.
Excellent. Also Initiative 2. So this is the lowest costing option for the Falcon we can take.
Yeah.
Good. So it's a droid. Got calculate, so possible symbiosis with IG-88A moving forward.
I don't think so much with...
No, I don't think so either, but it is something worth watching just in case.
Yeah.
Now, there are other ways to get L3's ability, namely through her crew card or through her escape pod pilot card, which also gives the Falcon that ability.
Yeah.
So I don't know how relevant this is going to be. I think it's just going to come down to costing. If it's cheap enough just to take this ability by itself and not wanting to invest the points in expensive crew or even the Falcon title, maybe there's going to be the option to take this without the Falcon title to save a lot of points.
Yeah.
Well, it's speculation at this point. We don't have costings.
Well, L3's what, in Initiative 2?
Initiative 2, so...
And then Lando, who's the next one, is Initiative 4. So it's a bit of a jump.
It is a bit of a jump, and the fact of the matter is because you're taking L3 on the pilot, it means you can't take the L3 escape pod and add it to another pilot's ability.
And it also means you can't take the crew card either, which is a really interesting crew card.
Yeah, for sure. And that just leads me to think that this is just going to be a fun, cheap option. It's going to have to be significantly cheaper in order to justify it. Like, more cheaper than the initiative would otherwise indicate.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing that might make it see play is a good cheap build and possible symbiosis with IG-88A. But I'm not looking at this getting too excited. No. I think it's the other pilots we want to talk about. In fact, let's go on to Lando. Now, we mentioned him in the last video. Yes, obviously that ability is pretty bad if you don't get extra dice. Yeah. As we've seen now, you can get extra dice through the Falcon title. And I think that's just okay. In terms of what he works well with, I like him with L3 in the crew or in the escape pod. Yeah. It means it puts more blue on his dial. It means he can remove his stress more easily and get that ability working for him a bit more consistently. And I quite like that. So Lando's like a decent sort of mid-range-ish ship that has a good attack, a good utility build, gonna consistently sling 3 red dice, the 2 arcs. Yeah. It doesn't blow my mind like the Rebel version of Lando moving forward, but it's cool nonetheless. Let's move on to the hype card. Ooh. Han Solo. Initiative 6. While you defend or perform a primary attack, if the attack is obstructed by an obstacle, you may roll 1 additional die.
Damn.
Yeah, damn indeed. This looks really good. Yeah. This looks really good and has some pretty strong symbiosis with the other cards. In terms of what this is doing, this feels a lot like the Rebel Falcon title.
Oh, yeah.
Which wants to play around with obstacles, except it does it even more. I mean, this is the Han of the Kessel Run era. This isn't the older Han of going through the Astro... I guess that's comparable in terms of that. I just think the Kessel Run in terms of cinematic Han flying past rocks is the most epic version of that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The cards it works with, I mean, it has the option of shooting on rocks. It has the option of ignoring rocks with some of the other cards. And that just really pushes it through the roof in terms of power level.
Yeah. Depending on how much crew and other cards you can put onto this ship, it could be amazing.
Yeah, I reckon so. And we'll talk a bit more about Han when we move on to those crew cards. For now, let's have a look at the escape pod. L337 was revealed in the previous video, and yes, this is just L3's ability which he shares on her crew card and on her Falcon card. Plus, she gives it to whatever Falcon pilot she's docked with, and that feels good with Lando. I like the fact that we can make Lando... just get a little bit more blue on his dial, make sure he's not stressed to use his ability. Plus, the beauty of this with Lando and with the Falcon title, you also get to spend all of Lando's shields first, which means he is then not shielded, and then you can use the shields on this craft afterwards. So you still have shields to spend, but you're not shielded.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's really useful.
It's going to be good.
Let's move on to the Outer Rim Pioneer, which, interestingly, is a unique card, but it's not any of the named characters. And this was a bit of a head-scratcher for us.
Yeah, and I think we worked it out after we realised how good crew were. And you go, hang on, if any of those crew was this instead, all of a sudden you'd be feeling pretty bad.
Yeah, because the idea is this is fantastic with Han Solo. Friendly ships at range 0 to 1, which includes ships you're touching and just ships in range 1, may perform attacks when they're at range 0 of an obstacle, meaning they're touching an obstacle. Yeah. Which, right off the bat, is fantastic with Han Solo. Because if Han's shooting while he's on a rock, there's a very high chance it's going to be obstructed. which goes with his ability. And the reason we say, hey, this doesn't want to get rid of any other crew. So if we take Lando, Woody Harrelson, Kira, or L3, all of these cards are good with Han.
Yeah.
And that's the reason Outer Rim Pioneer is not any of these named characters.
Definitely.
I initially thought, hey, why isn't this Kira? The reason for that is because you don't want to lose the ability to take this and the Kira crew.
Oh, definitely.
Kira
is amazing.
Kira is good with Han, for sure. And the Outer Rim Pioneer, look, it's bizarre that this is a unique card because it's not anyone with a name, but that's why. Plus, it also means you can't just take multiples of these in a scum.
Imagine flying like 6 or 7 little.
I'm just imagining a scum force with just escape pods. I don't think it's going to be viable in terms of points.
No.
I think the fact that it gives the Falcon its ability means it's going to sit points wise significantly above the Z95, and that means that it's going to be too expensive to fly in a swarm, except for this last guy, the autopilot drone.
Yeah.
This could actually be cheaper than a Z95 because it's Initiative 1 and does not give the Falcon its ability.
That, and if you're flying it by itself, it will last...
Oh, yeah, it's going to be terrible.
2 turns.
It's going to be terrible. Red Energy Cells replaces the baked-in ability, which is actually a first.
Yeah.
During the system phase, if you are not locked, lose 1 charge. It has 3 charge, by the way. At the end of the activation phase, if you have 0 charge, you are destroyed. Before you are removed, each ship at range 0 to 1 suffers 1 critical damage. Okay, I'm going to say it right now, I think this is terrible. I think this is really bad.
I love the idea behind it.
Yes.
Just that it will never work.
It might sometimes work if it's a win more card. I think if you're really pressuring your opponent and you're probably winning anyway, you can then force them into a corner and fly the ship at them.
I suppose if you're flying the Millennium Falcon one way, you could then shoot off the drone to fly around and
it can cut off your opponent. You get 2 rounds of... It depends how undocking and docking works. I assume it happens during the activation phase.
Yeah.
But if you were to deploy this by itself, it gets 2 rounds of flying before it blows up. Or 3. Oh, no, it happens at the end of activation. So you get 3 rounds of flying before it blows up. Your opponent, unless they are completely unskilled, is never going to let that hit their ship. Because you only have 3 speeds. There's no 4 or 5 speeds on this dial. This dial is not going to be able to chase TIE fighters. I mean, yeah... On the website here, there's a picture of it hitting 3 TIE fighters.
And they're look at this, it's amazing. And you go, I could do that. And you're like, wait a minute. I can't.
I know there's a lot of newbies that watch this channel. Don't be fooled by this picture. It's never going to happen.
Never.
Harry Nick, top tip of the day. This is never going to happen. TIE fighters are nowhere... They're never going to be anywhere near when this blows up. You have 3 turns of planning to make sure that never happens. Any competent opponent is not going to let that happen. Please don't let this be a trap for new players.
Yeah.
Having said that, if this is significantly cheap enough, like, say it's 20 points or 21 points, like the old equivalent of 10 or 11 points, you can chuck it on a Falcon, you get a little bit of value out of it. Maybe that 2 red dice is going to just help you attack a little bit more. You deploy it late in the game just to get a little bit more value. Yeah, maybe it'll blow up in one game because your opponent is forced into a corner and you might do damage to 1 ship.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get consistency out of this.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be dirt cheap.
Yeah.
And that's the only way it'll ever see some fringe play.
I think the only way this is going to see play is if you're versing another 2 big ship list.
Yes.
And you've already taken out 1 big ship and you go, okay.
You deploy this and then you have another ship to shoot with. In fact, I'm going to say it right now, the fact that you get 2 extra red dice on the table is more value than it's exploding.
Yeah.
Yes, I know the ceiling is obviously very, very high. If you can hit several ships, it's just never going to happen.
No.
And those 2 extra red dice might give you an extra attack late in the game, and that could be really cool. I don't know what archetype this fits into. Be very careful with this, guys. That's just what I'm going to end this up on. All right, let's move on to the crew. Just in the order they appear here in the article. L337. Equip this side face up. While you defend, you may flip this card. If you do, the attacker must reroll all attack die. And that's a good panic button.
Yeah.
I really like that. Especially on Scum. This feels like a much more rebel ability. But good, not going to complain about that. And if you flip it, it turns into a configuration card that is just her pilot ability.
Which is awesome.
It's really good.
I love the fact that they're able to just do these with these flip cards now.
Also, flavour, spot on. Spoiler alert, I'm not going to talk about what happens in the actual movie, but if you've seen it, yes, this is just spot on in terms of what happens.
Yeah.
Also, this is not only for the Falcon. This
Yeah.
is just a scum crew. This can go onto any scum ship.
Which blew my mind when I...
Yeah, we had a quick preliminary look through all the scum ships and the dials and what benefits most from this. I think there's two ships in particular that really like this, being the Lancer Pursuit Craft and the G1A Starfighter. Assuming these still have crew moving forward, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't.
Yeah.
But that is a consideration. They may not have the crew slot. However, on the Lancer, if you give it 1-speed blue maneuvers, that is a huge boost to that.
Yeah.
That previously had to basically do 3 speeds for the rest of the game if it has to do blue maneuvers, so giving it 1-speed blue is very significant. Also, on the G1A, it means those 3 red banks are now white, and that unlocks the dial a bit. I mean, sure, the G1A generally likes to play around with stress, so it might be counterintuitive. You might build that out in a way that doesn't want to use stress. You might use Zuckuss and use the extra dice and just go, nope, I don't want the stress. I just want to fly this like an ace. In which case, L3 is going to be fantastic. But just the value overall, on a lot of ships, it just makes the 2 and 3 speed banks blue. And that's fantastic. I mean, even on like a fire spray, it doesn't care about that too much. It means the 1, 2, and 3 speed are all going to be blue when it's not shielded. And the fact that that ship overall is getting a nice boost, I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be better crew for it, but that's a really cool thing. A lot of potential. A lot of potential off this card.
Is a card that you should always keep in the back of your mind when a new ship comes out.
That's it. I will say, in terms of design, yes, it might have worked FFG into a corner a little bit. It means they may be a little bit hesitant to print ships with crew slots that don't want to reduce the difficulty of their banks. Having said that, it's not like it's making them blue, it's just reducing their difficulty. So it's a measured upgrade across all ships rather than having potential explosive combination with a new ship that comes out at some point.
And again, they can just up the price of...
Yeah, exactly right. Love this new design moving forward.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to Chewbacca, which in this article just confirms what I thought it was going to be in the last one. We only saw it on the spread previously. At the start of the end phase, you may spend 1 focus token to repair one of your face-up damage cards. I like this a lot. I think it's going to come down to costing. Being able to repair face-up damage cards repeatedly seems like a very good ability to me. It has the obvious combo with the Han Gunner card, where you can take a red focus when you engage. However, I think the Han Gunner card, just taking a red focus when you engage, is good enough without this combo.
Yeah.
I think just making sure you always have a focus when you attack is going to be so sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Especially on other scum ships, like the fire spray. I'm looking at that in particular. So yeah, Chewbacca, if there's a way to efficiently get focus tokens on your ship, yeah, cool, but not crazy. I do like the ability to repeatedly repair face-up damage cards, especially on the Scum faction that doesn't have much access to that at the moment.
Yeah. Next we have Lando. Donald Glover.
Yeah, a lot of the new artwork looks really, really schmick. A lot of the upgrade stuff in conversion packs and all the new stuff in Lando's Falcon.
After you roll dice, you may spend 1 green token to reroll up to 2 of your results.
I love this card. This looks legit. Very much playing around with the same design space as the Rebel Lando, which is kind of like the whole gambling thing, utilizing green tokens, that kind of stuff. The Rebel version gets you green tokens, and this utilizes green tokens, which feels fair for Rebel and Scum. Rebel is more about token hoarding than Scum. It always has been, especially cheating on evade tokens onto ships that shouldn't be able to get them. That's very much a Rebel thing. Yeah. But this, as a utility card on the Scum faction, looks fantastic. It basically means that your focus tokens are going to always give you value. There is going to be very few scenarios where you take a focus token and you have the Lando crew where you're not going to get great value out of. It reminds me of Weapons Guidance and Sensor Cluster as the tech cards, which allows you to spend focus tokens to change a blank result. Just 1 result. Yeah. But this lets you reroll 2, which is more variance. Again, scum, variance. We like that. I like this a lot. And I love how this combos with the Han Gunner card, which seems bizarre to me, seeing as how badly the Han Gunner card combos with the Pilot Lando.
Yeah.
But it basically means you can power out focus tokens in terms of green tokens, and then Lando can make sure you get value out of it.
It's almost like they're friends again.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess if they're crewing the ship, they're friends, but if Lando's piloting, they're not friends.
Yeah.
I don't know what that says about the thing. Again, I'm very hyped for Han Solo on the Fire Spray. If the Fire Spray gets a crew slot, and you can use Lando and Han on the Fire Spray together, it means the Fire Spray can use its action to reinforce, do the red focus with Han, and then it has a reinforce and a focus token backed up with Lando.
Oh.
That just seems really, really efficient.
Yeah.
Now, there's no guarantee the Fire Spray is getting a crew slot. I'm just going to say that right now. I'm not making any assumptions. Plus, we don't know the costings of all these. It might be dumb and expensive and we can't do it. But that platform, more than the Falcon, gets me hyped for this combination.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I know I talk about the Fire Spray a lot in these videos, but that's because the Fire Spray in 2.0 looks awesome.
Next we have Kira. While you move and perform attacks, you ignore obstacles that you are locking.
Great utility card. Doesn't seem too insane. It's not like Dash Rendar's level of insane, because you have to get target locks. Again, there's no dumb ways to get free target locks in second edition, so I don't think this is crazy. It basically means you've got to spend the action a turn before in order to make your next turn better.
Yeah.
And I think situationally that's going to be really good. The fact of the matter is, on Han Solo with the escape pod, it means you can target lock a rock, move onto the rock, take an action, get all the bonuses from Han Solo from shooting on the rock, which you're probably going to get.
Yeah.
And it means your opponent gets no extra green dice.
Yeah.
So as a utility card, it does everything that Han Solo wants to do. And I think that's pretty much the one place that Kira is going to see play. I don't see this being too insane on any other platform.
No.
I mean, if there's any platform that has an astromech and a crew, you can take the 2 target locks with your astromech and then lock one of your opponent and a rock, but there's no platform that does that now.
I was going to say...
Jump Master
Master
does one or the other.
Yeah,
it's changed. It's changed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think good utility card for Han Solo. It's going to do everything that platform wants. I think, in fact, that basically the build for Han Solo comes in the pack. There's no question about that. And before we finish off this video, I just want to bring up Woody Harrelson again, because I talked about this crew card in the previous video, and I wasn't really high on it. The fact that you can replace a rock might be a good utility in some things, but the reason I want to bring this up again is because it's great with Han Solo. It's also the reason Woody Harrelson is not in the escape pod. It has that generic version of the crew. It has the generic pilot in that, so you don't have to use this up. Basically, Woody Harrelson with Kira, with a gunner of some kind. We don't know if the Falcon's getting 2 crew. It might be 1 crew and a gunner. So no guarantees you're going to be able to use this and Kira together. It's about the combinations we can take, and Woody Harrelson is going to be a good card if it's cheap enough to justify taking over something like Kira, or if it can be redundancy if there's the extra slot. We just don't know enough about it, but it's worth bringing up here because of, yes, it has a great combination with Han Solo. And that's the whole lot, Justin.
Yeah.
It looks like a really good pack. I think Lando's Falcon title, that card is what really caps it all off.
So makes me want to play Scum.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I'm actually really keen to play Rebel now.
Yeah.
A lot of what's happening in 2nd edition, because the factions have their own unique identity, and that's being better realised through the new design choices, it makes us want to play different factions so we can play with our own different designs.
Yeah.
Because it's not like one faction does everything. It's not like the old Rebel or Imperial where they have a bit of everything smattered around. It's a bit more realised, and I think Lando's Falcon, it just goes to show you, hey, here's a new Falcon, but this ain't your granddaddy's Falcon. This is your new, this is the new cool kids Scum Falcon. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll keep working on these new update videos as new stuff is released. In the meantime, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Reddit. I'll catch you guys later.
Bye.